The hacking of the Cheat on Your Spouse website, Ashley Madison, has been getting a ton of attention from the press for various reasons, most of which I don't care about at all. For instance, the thing that seems to be getting the most play is what names are in that database that was leaked. For instance, Josh Duggar, who I mentioned in my previous video. And that's funny that Josh Duggar had a paid account on Ashley Madison because it does show what a giant hypocrite he is. But at the end of the day, I don't really care. It's none of my business who decides to cheat on their spouse or not. It's between the people who are cheating and being cheated on. And I feel like if you had to go to that database and put your spouse's information in to see if they had an account, you should probably just go get counseling anyway, because there are some serious relationship issues already happening there. What I do find interesting about the story is the privacy angle. For instance, there are the hackers themselves violating the privacy of millions of people by releasing their names and information, which is truly disgusting in and of itself. But then there's also the fact that Ashley Madison has been exposed for taking people's money to supposedly delete their accounts. Yes, you had to pay to delete your information. And then leaving that information in their database anyway, which makes it all seem like a great big scam. But here's why I'm finally making a video about this. It's because the other day, my friend Annalee Newitz at Gizmodo published an amazing piece of investigative journalism in which she discovered that pretty much no women were actively using the website Ashley Madison. And I'm not exaggerating there. There were a few women, but they were vastly outnumbered by the men. And I'll just give you the numbers so you can see how crazy this is. In the database that was released, the website had 31 million men and 5.5 million women, which is a ratio of about 5-1, which, yes, is bad for the men, but it doesn't make it impossible for them to find a woman. 5-1's not that bad. But Newitz discovered that of those 5.5 million women, only 1,492 ever looked at a single message in their inbox, ever, compared to more than 20 million men who had looked at their inboxes. That means of all of the active users on the website, 0.01%, actually less than 0.01% of those users were women. Newitz also found that a huge number of IP addresses in the database were actually loopback IPs, meaning that they were most likely created on Ashley Madison's private server. And a number of the profiles used Ashley Madison email addresses. And the majority of those were female. Considering that the vast majority of profiles on the site were male, that is very significant. In other words, it seems pretty damned convincing that a large number of the female profiles on the site were actually fakes made by Ashley Madison to lure men into buying accounts there, and then also paying for a cancellation when they found nobody was responding to their messages. And sure enough, when Newitz looked into the leaked emails from Ashley Madison, she found evidence of people actually talking about best practices for creating these fake profiles, which they called angels. Taking into account all of this new information has made me really reconsider the way that I viewed Ashley Madison. Previously, I thought of it as a truly disgusting business run by assholes who made money off of helping people lie to their spouses and possibly put them at risk of STDs. But now I see that I was wrong. Ashley Madison has probably saved more marriages than it cost. Consider this, the idea that there's a man out there who's married and he wants to screw around on his wife. So he goes to Ashley Madison, this website that's famous for helping sexy people meet up for these covert affairs. And he sees a bunch of women in his area. So he messages them and sits back and probably masturbates thinking about all of the awesome affairs he's going to have. And then he waits and waits and waits. And maybe he buys another package of messages and sends more to more women and waits and waits. And eventually he comes to the conclusion that all of these other people are out there having affairs, but not a single woman has bothered to send him a message in return. So he's probably not worth much on the market. So he just gives up and decides to focus on the one person who he managed to convince to marry him. Bam, marriage saved. So thank you, Ashley Madison, for conning a bunch of assholes out of money and probably inadvertently saving a lot of marriages.